Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Shades of Grey. I will be reviewing the Once Upon a Book Club box. Now, I feel like I have to not only explain but apologize. The review I'm going to do is the November 2024 box. The reason why this is so late, and I know it's extremely late, is because I was studying for the Amazon Web Services and Solutions Architect Pro exam, and I couldn't read the book and study for the exam. I just couldn't have all that in my head at the same time. So I actually took a 3 month pause on my boxes just so I could study for the exam, catch up with just life, because around that same time it's like Christmas and New Year's and all that stuff, and Thanksgiving and Halloween, and just trying to balance life with everything else. And so I took that 3 month pause on the books so that I could study for my exam, which I passed, by the way. So, yay, me. And then once I got my life a little bit more calmed down and everything's kind of slow, I finally finished the book. So, the book for November 2024. Oh, and I restarted my subscription. So, I should get the March book sometime either this week or next week. We'll see. But the book was The Memory Dress by Jane Beer. And I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing that right, Jade Beer. It was actually a really good book. But as always, we're going to go through the gifts first. So the first gift was on page 60. It came in this cute little box. And it was Meredith's Memories. That's a person in the book. Meredith's Memories. It was a set of 9 sketches because she was a dress designer along with her husband, and wooded beading wall hanging. So you have the beads with the little clothespin clips, and then you can hang your pictures on the clips and then put them all up one by one, and it's for 9 pictures. Me, if you have a very bohemian type of house, I think this is perfect. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put this. I do know I'm gonna put it somewhere. I just don't know where. If I don't put it up in my house, I'm gonna give it to somebody else. But this is actually a really cute idea. I think this is more like a teenager type of thing. I can see my niece having this in her room with pictures of her friends, doing it all day long in her room. We'll see. But that was the gift on page 60. And pretty much a character named Jane went to Meredith's home and saw that Meredith had this up with pictures from her old sketches, and on the back of every single picture was a date and a place where that was taken to kind of jog her memory. So that's page 60. Then we had on page 144, Meredith took Jane took out one of the little girls on a little adventure, and they went to a place that had a bunch of fairy doors. Now, fairy doors was something that I never heard of before. So you build a little fairy door, which is in this picture right here, and then a child can then open up the tiny little door and like write a message for a fairy. So if they had like a special wish or they were worried about something, they can write it on the note, put it behind the door for the fairy. And then I think it's kind of like the Tooth Fairy, where later on, somebody comes in, gets it, and reads it, and kind of gets an idea of what that child is going through, or any concerns they may have, or just simple wishes like, I want a new toy. And then some things could be, I want, mom or dad home more, something like that. And it gives you everything to build the fairy door, along with stickers and all that stuff. I don't know if this is going to be something that's for me. I'm way too big. My niece is 14. She's going to be 15 soon. Oh my gosh. She's gonna be 15. So it's not up her alley. So I don't exactly know what I'm gonna do with it. I could just give away to charity or put it on Poshmark. We'll see. I don't have a Poshmark account. Maybe put it on Etsy. And this was a message that Jane wrote into the fairy door, which is, "Am I doing the right thing?" And then she put it behind her own fairy door when they went to this little area. The next thing you got was on page 264. And it said that Meredith went and grabbed her essentials bag before they left. And so here is the essentials bag. The actual line was she shoots off the sofa and across the room toward her bedroom. When she returns, she is holding a black bag in her hand. It sits. She sits it beside me and slowly unzips it to reveal closely guarded contents to me for the first time. So it is Meredith's essential bag. Now inside this bag is a little green self-care pouch and little bits and bobs. And in the bits and bobs bag is actually a tiny little travel sewing kit with already threaded needles with the simple colors of black, brown, blue, light green, pink, and white. Safety pin and 2 buttons. So everything you need if you just want to put, if you want to make a couple quick fixes, if a button comes off, things of that nature. And then it came with little cute tiny scissors. So I actually thought that was very cool. Bits and bobs, I already know it's going to go into my my guest bathroom, so that my company can always have a little something in case they get a little tear or a button comes off. They can mend it themselves. They don't need me to come and do it for them. They can get it all done. The self-care bag and the essentials bag is definitely going in my travel kit. If you watch my other videos, you know I got some green packing cubes with one book. Those green packing cubes go everywhere now. This is going in there. If anything, it's probably going to go into my carry-on, which is typically my book bag. And I can just throw little things in here, like probably my medication will go into probably the self-care. And then my passport will probably go inside of here, so that these things are together and I can always know where to find them and things of that nature. So I actually thought this was actually really cute, and I like this one, along with the bits and bobs. Now, I wasn't able to find this exact thing online, so I found a set of 3 black mesh bags, and then I found a sewing kit that had everything but the scissors, and it's a set of 2 of those little kits. I tried to find a set of I think I found one. I kept searching on the internet, and I found something that just had one little packet like this. It had the safety pins, the buttons, the threaded strings already, but it didn't have the little scissors. So I was able to find everything but the tiny scissors. So sorry about that, you guys. And then we have the final gift, and that was on page 371. Please know that was like the page before the last page. So they held out to the very end for your final gift. And it is a insulated metal tumbler with a digital temperature display. It also has a little tea strainer, so if you have your loose leaf teas, you can put your hot water in there, put the tea leaves in here, drop it in, and have yourself some warm, comfortable tea. Now, I've been trying to get the display, because it says you should just be able to tap this and the display should come up somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. And right now I have like cold water in here, so it's not displaying anything. I don't know if I was looking to see if there was some place you were supposed to charge it. I thought maybe it needed a charge, and that's why I couldn't see it, but I'm not seeing anything. I don't know exactly what's going on. I'm gonna look it up online and see if I can figure out, where the temperature is supposed to be displayed, but I'm not seeing anything. I even looked inside of it. I thought maybe it's on the inside. You tap it, and somehow it's on the inner part of this, but there's really nothing to be seen. So I don't know exactly where the display is supposed to be or how it's supposed to show up, or if And as you can see, there's really no place to like stick a cord to charge this thing. So I don't really know how the display works or if it's like solar powered. I don't know. I'm gonna look up some more information later. Now I did find one online that's like it. The one online though is 17 ounces. This is 16 ounces. Uh, and I have to say this just because I am a Amazon affiliate, which means you click on a link and you purchase something from me. I do get a percentage of the money. It could be anywhere from 1 to 10%, depending on what you purchase in what category. But because of FTC regulations, I do have to say that, and I do have to let you know. Uh, as 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 usual, everything that you see here, I will have there. I will have on there for you guys. Now, this book did come with two more little cute little bits and bobs and stuff like that. A note that the book talked about the character seeing was taped on page 63. So let me show you page 63 and 61. So 63, trauma stills memories. So that was actually a note that the character saw in the book, and you get to see it when you open up the book and you see that there. And then on page 119, there is a little QR code that takes you to a Spotify playlist for Chopin Piano Concerto number 1 in E minor. You find out towards the end why that song is so important to the character. So those were all the gifts. Of course, I love the water bottle and the sewing kit and the essentials bag. The wooded bead wall hanger. I'm probably gonna give that to my niece. That's more her flavor. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the fairy door. Like I said, it's probably going to end up on Poshmark. I'll see if I have a friend with a daughter who wants it. Most of my friends have sons. But my sister, she probably knows somebody with a daughter who would appreciate that. But yeah, but those were the gifts that were for this book. Now, as always, you get the lovely, let me get this book. You get the bookmark. You get your sticker. So I have stuff sitting on other things as I'm trying to get with this thing. So I usually undo all this stuff before we talk, but I'm very disorganized. And I want to blame that on something, but it's nobody's fault but my own. So you get the little pamphlet inside with a questionnaire from the author. You get the discussion questions, so you can sit there and discuss it online if you join the Facebook group. You get the nameplate, which you can stick inside your book with the signature from the author. And then you get your sticker for the water bottle, or they have a piece of paper, like a poster that you can stick these on so you can keep track of the books that you read. And then you have a note from the author. So, the book itself. It's about a character named Jane, Jayne. I could be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. It could be Janie, Diane. I just said Jane. And she's pretty much, she works in a flower shop. She's also a dog walker. She's a woman of many trades because she's dealing with her own trauma and trying to find herself. In the course of doing this, and she also babysits a couple of the neighbors' kids. In the course of doing this, she realized she has this neighbor named Meredith. And she's walking a dog one day, and one of her dogs run into Meredith's apartment. She goes into Meredith's apartment and realizes it's in absolute disarray. And she realizes that Meredith kind of forgets a conversation while they're in the middle of it. It can't keep focus on a lot of things. And then she looks into Meredith's room and sees this bead of just pictures, which is one of the gifts you get. And on there's a bunch of photographs of all these dresses that Meredith have made with her husband. And she realized that these dresses were actually Princess Diana's dresses. And then in the process of that, she realizes that one of the dresses that were one of the missing dresses Meredith actually has in her apartment with a note from the design house that she used to work with saying that, hey, this dress is for you. So she has this expensive, one of the kind dress that the whole world has been looking for in her house. And yet this woman doesn't know how she got it, has a hard time remembering who she is or who she was. And, sometimes she's very lucid. She knows everything that's going on around her. She remembers everything. And in other days, she keeps asking for her husband. And at this point, Jane remembers that she's never seen her husband, William. And so she's like, oh crap, what if, something happened to William? We don't know, And then Jane goes on a mission to find William for Meredith so she can get answers for where William is. In the process of doing this, she also found out that Meredith and William had a daughter named Fiona. And then she realized she does not know where Fiona is either. So she's like, and after talking, she finally gets her neighbors involved. And then her neighbors recognize that Meredith actually has dementia. So it's going to be very difficult for them to get the information that they need. So as a group, they kind of work together to find Fiona and William. And you kind of go on this sort of mystery with her to figure out, Meredith's past, where William is, where Fiona is, and, her life up to this point, and her role in Princess Diana's life, making all these dresses for her. And it comes to a conclusion that's, joyous and heartbreaking at the same time. My great-grandmother had dementia. I had to be tested because I found out there was a hereditary component to dementia. So I was always worried that, it could be my future. I don't have it. However, I do have a gene for it, which does suck. But it's something to have in mind, and reading, Meredith kind of be in the moment and then be completely lost and go, oh, who are you? And it's just like you were talking to her for the past 20 minutes now and you completely forgot who she was. It kind of brought that all back for me about my great-grandmother forgetting who I was for a moment. And sometimes all together, from one moment to the next. And if you deal with someone with dementia, it is kind of heartbreaking to read those moments because they want to remember so bad, but it's just not there. And you have to work within their mindset at that moment. And you have to politely figure out a way to remind them of who you are and understand they're not being mean. They're not being hurtful. They're not trying to, and it's frustrating for them too, because they keep losing chunks of their life. And then at one moment they think they're in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. And then you have to remind them that no, it's 2025. And now they realize they've missed a whole chunk of their life. And then you have to remind them about things that have happened to them, or where somebody is or where they're not anymore. And it can be a little difficult to kind of sit through that. So those parts were difficult to read. The writer did add in a love story for Jane, sort of a redemption story for, some of the trauma that she's going through in her romantic life. She does have another trauma that she's going through that's more familial. Not that she's dealt with someone with dementia before, because she didn't realize the signs. When I was reading the book, within the first 3 pages of reading Meredith's interaction with her, I was like, this woman has dementia or Alzheimer's or something. Just reading it because I know the signs because I've seen them before. But Jane didn't quite know them. But you find out that Jane has a couple personal issues, romantic and familial, that she's dealing with. I kind of honestly glanced over those because I was more interested in the mystery of Meredith. I didn't really care about Jane's romantic life or all that other stuff. Honestly, it's kind of like a Hallmark movie that I just watched called Hearts Around the Table. I didn't care about the love story between the two main characters. I cared about them losing the 14-year-old boy that lived there and him connecting with the family. So that could have been taken out the book, and it still would have been a good book for me. So I would give this book probably a B plus. In all honesty, a B plus. And like I said, some parts could have been completely removed, and it's still a good book. I was more interested in Meredith and her main story and learning about what happened to William and Fiona, and coming to a conclusion with that. And I like the book's conclusion. The book's conclusion was honest, well represented, and loving and nurturing, and it was sort of a support for those who dealing with somebody who's going through that, or somebody who's going through it themselves. So gifts, I would honestly say the gifts this time were sort of a B, because like I said, the beaded wall decor, I'm going to probably give it to my niece. And the fairy doll, I have no idea what I'm going to do with that other than try to find somebody I can give it to. The water bottles and the essentials bag, I love those. So I would give the gifts a B and the book a B plus. And that is me being 100% honest with you guys. Now, other than that, if you don't want to hear me talk for another minute, you can stop the video. But I wanted to apologize for my voice as well. I am getting over the flu. And I have issues with sinuses right now, so I'm dealing with all that. So if you can hear it in my voice, that's what you're hearing. You're hearing the last bits of the flu and a little bit of my allergies. And I also want to show you guys a really cool gift that my friend got me, because I told her I was trying to get more into reading. And she's a huge, I think it's called a bibliophile, somebody who's a humongous book lover. So what she did for me was she gave me this gift box. So it has it has a pillow, a little eye mask. She gave me a little coin purse, because she gave me a wallet, and I've worn that wallet to death. Things are peeling off of it, so she gave me this one to carry around as a new wallet. But then she gave me all these gift wrap books. And if you can see the little 7 that's on top of this one. Here. All these books have a number on them. And then this jar that she gave me, you see the little orange ones, the little orange stars. Those have numbers. So I'm supposed to pick a number out of the jar and then unwrap that book. And the first book I unwrapped, because of course I picked number 10. She gave me $10 and I picked number 10, was The City We Became by M.K. Jemisin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Jemisin. So as you can see from the bookmark, because I used the bookmark from this book for this. I just started. So I just started last night. The prologue was actually had me laughing, because it started off what was sorry. You think I would be better at finding this daggone page. The prologue started off with, see, what had happened was, now you know when someone starts off with that, they about to start off with a whole bunch of mess. Anybody coming to you and you say, what's going on? And they look at you go and say, see, what had happened was, everything after that is going to be some nonsense, some mess, some lies, some craziness, some wildness. Somebody going to probably end up getting arrested some way through this story. You already know what it's about to be. So I'm excited to get into this book and read it. Hopefully I can finish it before my next Once Upon a Book Club book comes. So fingers crossed that I can get this done, because this one's a thick one. But the type is big. So hopefully I can just sit down, get it done, get it grinded. So I actually thought this was a really cute idea. So if you can emulate that, please do. I know my friend is a big fan of thrift shops. So if you wondering where do I get all these books from, I would say honestly, go to a thrift store, pick up a couple books. I know they sell books in thrift stores. Go to the discount bin at a bookstore, pick them up, wrap them up. Figure out a way to put some numbers in the jar for them. I thought this was an amazing idea, and I can't wait to get in here and figure out what my next set of books are. But I am going to do the right thing. The same way I do it for these. I wait until I get to that page before I unwrap anything. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. But I just started cracking this open, And I cannot wait to get into that. I thought that was such a good idea. But that was for me for now. Sorry, I had to pick this little guy up. It was actually in the little basket too. So cute. It's a little massager. But I'm gonna get into this book, and I will see you guys next time. All right. So if you got the box, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about the book. Tell me what you think about the gifts. Also, if you didn't get the box, tell me if this is something that you would consider getting. And what gift you like the most. As always, I will have all the gifts linked down below so you get a version of that on Amazon. So, with that, in life there's black and white, but with me sitting here with you right now, you are always getting at least one shade of gray. Bye, guys.